Hey folks, welcome back to another league racing video. We are here for the finale of season 31 in PSGL at Silverstone. Quite a tricky qualifying session. Wasn't able to match what we were able to do earlier in the week with CSGB. So it placed us 16th at the moment. And opting for the aggressive strategy, starting on the medium tyres as the lights begin to go on now. Want a strong finish to the end of the season. And away we go with a much better start than those on the hard tyres, with the advantage of the compound. We're up to 14th straight away off the start. Quite a few spinner there at the first corner. But I'm trying to luckily avoiding that. And again, another ghosted car off the track there, Aston Martin. So we're gaining positions hand over fist straight away through the opening section, as we get a decent exit out of the slow left-hander out of Sector 1 and charging down the Wellington Straight towards the Luffield complex. Up to 9th at this point, challenging Napple on the inside, heading towards the outside line for this next corner, using the extra grip we've got from the medium tyres on this opening lap to full advantage. And yeah, starting really well up to 9th at this point, making full use of the tyres, and that was essential for the going forward in this race, because we wouldn't have the pace on the hards later on. But we saw a car spearing off the road out of Cops just behind us, so that gives a little bit of a buffer between myself and RVL Volcano, so we can turn our attention towards the cars in front. Try and settle into the race as well, obviously. Want to try and start setting some consistent laps and start challenging those in front, because we do have a pace advantage at this point in time. And we feel like, at least for the moment, Napple is holding us up somewhat. So we started looking at that move as we approach the end of the first lap. Victor out in front, setting the fastest lap of the race so far. Napple catches a bit of the curb, so we get the opportunity to put it down the inside and confidently send it. And he hasn't really got an answer for that, given the lack of grip on those hards at this early stage. So we move up into 8th place from 16th at the moment. So 8 gained after a lap or so, which is excellent. Move forward to the end of lap 2, heading down into Club Chicane with Paul Milo and Ryan, Z92, out in front of him. And unfortunately, he gets a little bit squirrely on the exit and just couldn't get the power down as well as he'd like. And he's round into the final corner. It's causing a problem for a lot of drivers in this race. So unfortunate for him, but it does put us into 6th place. Beginning to set some consistent laps in the mid 131s at this point. Just trying to stay with the pack here. Obviously Moritz and Paul Milo also on medium tyres, so making use of the pace at this stage to pull us away in front. And try and stay away from Napple as well. We don't want to be giving him too much in the way of DRS. We get a little track limit warning there, running a little bit too wide on the exit of turn 1 on lap 6 of the race. So yeah, still looking pretty solid at this stage. Trying to just keep putting in those laps. Obviously we're missing out on a little bit of practice. We had some experience from earlier in the week in another league. Happened to be at Silverstone, so we're carrying that experience through and allowing us to try and make up some ground on these pretty quick drivers in front. It has to be said, this is a very competitive tier, right? To be honest, there's a lot of quick drivers, and we had our work cut out to try and stay with them. So moving on to lap 7, we had an incident through Maggots and Beckett's, so it deployed the virtual safety car, which, given where we were on track, was actually quite handy. Note the Delta glitch, which put us about 4.5 seconds up on the Delta, which really is not ideal. So it's same for everyone by the looks of it, because everyone was slow into a crawl there. But aside from that, it did give us the opportunity to switch off of our medium tyres, which weren't going to last too much longer anyway, I wouldn't have thought. Pushing quite hard in that early stint. So we moved on to the hards, and it got our stop out of the way, which was really crucial in the context of the race. We can go to the end on these tyres. They will be very second-hand, obviously, but we can get to the end, and that's the key. So now our approach is now to try and stay with these cars who also pit, such as Moritz and Paul Milo, and move ahead. So we've got a drive-through penalty for Moritz, which basically gives us his position once he gets around to taking that. Though that really wasn't necessary in the end, because through Luffield he gets a tank slapper and flies out off the circuit. So it puts him out of contention there. So we want to try and break away so he can't catch us back up, and he does pit to serve that penalty. He had 8 seconds. 8 seconds anyway. So not ideal for him. Really not ideal. So that early pit stop, it did put us outside the top 10, well outside, but we are aware of a lot of cars up ahead who haven't pit yet. Only a few opted to come in during the VSC. As our teammate there is disconnected, unfortunately, so won't be getting points there. As UXS Franco, who just pit onto medium tyres, I believe, has just spun it, going onto the Wellington straight. So not ideal for him at all, and it gives us another free position. That's been quite a theme in this race. A lot of drivers coming a cropper to strangely slippery conditions. It's probably the temperature of the tyres. They're not really in the window yet, pushing too hard. And he did opt to retire pretty much straight away there, which is unusual. It seems to be another running theme of leagues. Just, not trying to push for the checkered flag, so you never know what might happen. Never, ever give up. As TYR Soren comes in on this lap, he's got 31.5, so doing about the same, if not slightly better than the medium tyres in terms of race pace. Up to P7 at this point. Napple also was in the pits, as was RVL. So a bit of a gap behind us now, which is really good. It means that we gained a hell of a lot out of pitting under VSC. So we push on and try it. We haven't managed to stay with Paul Milo, unfortunately, to get the DRS, but we were, for a point, within 3 seconds of him, which was really going to, with his penalty, we were there to try and capitalise on that, but unfortunately we weren't able to stay with him. He's just showing very, very good pace at this stage of the race. SXT Mike, one of the top guys in the championship, made a mistake through Maggots and Beckett's, I believe, so he's dropped back a lot. And I'm not entirely sure whether he's just got overheated tyres or maybe some damage to the car, because he does run wide, like really wide, through Stowe, I believe. And, well, we just take that position for free, like taking candy from a baby, frankly. And he, I think he opts to pit. Yes, he does. So I suspect he's got a, some kind of damage. I think he sped into the pit lane as well. He's picked up a 5-second penalty. Donique's the same, 10 seconds accumulated there. So some drivers coming a cropper to penalties, that's for sure. And at this point, with those drivers being in the pit lane, we move up into 3rd place, which is amazing. In the finale of the season, we haven't been around for... Well, we missed 4 races this season, but in the finale, we were here, and we're able to grab that 3rd place, owing to that stop under the VSC and some consistent lap time. So Napple was catching us. He was on the medium, so naturally he's going to have better pace now, the same way we had better pace at the beginning when we were on the medium tyres. So all the time we were trying to just maintain that gap to prevent him getting DRS, but at lap 23, he did get the run, and... Yeah, that would have been alright, but he did seem to run wide. I'm not quite sure what he was doing, whether he just outbraked himself. I wouldn't like to think anything was deliberate there, anything malicious at all, but either way, we did make contact into the entry of Stowe, and he got the move done. But crucially, our objective now, given his 3-second penalty, was simply to stay with him. But in the end, we didn't need to, because on lap 25, he disconnected from the race. Meaning his car was completely ghosted and the AI opted to pull him in for I don't know what kind of tyres. But either way, he's out of contention. It promotes us back into 3rd. And I think even if he stayed connected, there's a good chance we would have stayed within 3 seconds of him and grabbed that place anyway. But you know what? This more or less confirms a podium finish in the final race of the season. And we saw Paul Milo there picking up another 3-second penalty, giving 6 in total, and we're 6.4 behind. So our attention turned to the possibility, and if I'm honest, I kind of regret not pushing harder throughout the stint. Not that we weren't pushing, but pushing more, because we're only 6/10 off potentially getting 2nd. But he is showing good pace, and that was always going to be the challenge. We don't have a great deal of ERS left, so sweeping through the Luffield section of the track, trying to get as good an exit as possible on fairly worn tyres. You can see that little red mark on the MFD, meaning that we're above the threshold and in the range of puncture risk, so we had to be aware of that, of course, but it was eating into our pace, and it wasn't really going to be enough to try and make up 8/10 on Paul at this late stage. But at this point we were just sort of thinking about consolidating this result, and it was going to give us an extremely strong points finish to round off the season. 73% on the front left, so we really were going a bit conservative on this final few corners. as Victor wins the race for Ferrari and closes out the championship for him. A really strong end to the season. But we're going to come across to get a podium.
But we're going to come across for our second fucking podium. Yes! Come on! Come on! Yes! Yes! 16th to 3rd in the finale. Come on! Yes! Yes! Brilliant. Yes! Come on. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed it. Beautiful. Fucking podium at the end. Get in. Finishing it off in style. You know, we're only a second off second place as well. We're just, the tyres were going off. There was nothing more I could do. I didn't have any more left. I had nothing left. Oh, fucking hell. What an end to the season. What an end to the season. Very, very pleased with that. What a finish. What a finish.
And there we have it. That is season 31 of PSGL in the PS division concluded. And as you can see, 7th place, right in the thick of it. 41 points, despite 4 races I was unable to attend. We still managed to secure 7th place. Shows how competitive this tier really was. So very pleased with that result for Alpha. And going into that final race, we were 10th in the Constructors, and that strong points finish leapfrogged us to 7th, which I'm extremely happy with, I've got to be honest. Been a very disjointed season, but a strong finish to round it all out. So we look ahead to season 32, and thank you everyone for watching. Goodbye.